Seeing everybody here, I'm going to begin the meeting today. So I'd like to welcome everybody this morning to the meeting of March 19th, 2025, Public Board Meeting of Sturgeon Public School Division Board of Trustees. We are pleased to have members of the public joining us virtually, and we thank you for your interest in the work of the board. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to clarify the role of the Board of Trustees and the expectations for all attendees during this meeting. The Board of Trustees is a governance body responsible for making decisions in the best interest of our students, families, staff, and community. Our meetings are held in public to ensure transparency and accountability in our decision-making processes. However, it is important to note that the public board meetings are not public forums. Attendees are here as observers and cannot engage in discussion or pose questions during the meeting unless specifically invited to do so through designated processes. In accordance with the board policy, the board procedures, regulations, and the Education Act, all individuals are expected to conduct themselves respectfully during this meeting. Any disruption, including improper conduct, will result in removal from the meeting. This ensures that the board can fulfill its responsibilities efficiently and effectively. I also want to address the labor situation with one of our employee groups. We are pleased to share that a tentative agreement has been reached with CUPE and is now moving to the ratification process. This means that members will now vote on whether to accept the agreement or not. The vote will take place between 11 a.m. today and 11 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, March 20th. If CUPE ratifies, the board will hold a special board meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. to vote on the agreement. We recognize that the past 2 months have been difficult for our staff, students, and families, and we greatly appreciate your patience and cooperation during this time. As the agreement is subject to ratification, discussions related to CUPE labor action, negotiations, and other confidential matters remain restricted in this public forum and will continue to be addressed privately in alignment with board policy, the Education Act, and related legislation. While we await the ratification process, our board continues to focus on supporting students and maintaining a safe and effective learning environment. The ministerial order granting Sturgeon Public School divisions an exemption from in-person learning regulation remains in place. We understand that this situation has placed strain on families, and we thank you for your patience. We are optimistic that the ratification process will soon bring resolution, and we appreciate everyone's cooperation during this transition. The board remains committed to openness, transparency, and fostering public trust through sound governance practices. We appreciate your understanding and cooperation as we proceed with the business on today's agenda. With that, the meeting is called to order. I guess I could have done that prior at 10:05. I would like to now ask Trustee, I would like to let everybody know that Trustee Pequin sends her regrets. She's unable to attend today's meeting. And now I will ask Trustee Buga to provide the land acknowledgement for the meeting today.
Thank you. I am honored to do the land acknowledgement, especially at this time of rebirth and growth when we look out the window, we see bits of grass trying to poke through, the snow is melting, the sun is shining and holding some heat again. So I'm thrilled to live and work and play here on Treaty 6. And Sturgeon Public Schools respectfully acknowledges that we teach, learn, and grow together on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We honor and respect the history, languages, ceremonies, and cultures of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples who have called this land home for countless generations. We recognize the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and Inuit for their care, love, and stewardship of this place. We are grateful for those who share their knowledge with us and help to foster a respectful relationship with all of our relatives on this land. We are committed to understanding the harms done in the name of education and continuing to learn to honor the true spirit of Treaty 6 as a promise of friendship, collaboration, and peaceful alliance.
Thank you, Trustee Buga. I'm going to, if it's all right with the board, I will ask for an omnibus motion to pass or approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 26th, 2025, the special board meeting of March 5th, 2025, and the special board meeting of March 12th, 2025. Any additions, any deletions, any corrections that the board sees? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to approve those? Thank you, Trustee Gibbons. So approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting, February 26th, special board meetings, March 5th and March 12th.
Excuse me, Chair, sorry to interrupt. Also, we didn't have an approval of the agenda.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Sorry, any additions to the agenda before we approve minutes? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you, Trustee Buga. I appreciate that. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Now back to the approval of the minutes. And Trustee Gibbons, thank you for the motion. All in favor of approving the regular board meeting minutes, February 26th, 2025, and the special board meetings of March 5th and March 12th, 2025. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried unanimously. Okay, thank you. No business arising from the minutes. Presentations and delegations. 6.1 Interact Club, Sturgeon Composite High School. Superintendent Warren, would you like to do the introductions, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm going to welcome Mr. Cripps, Principal of Sturgeon Composite High School, along with members from their Interact Club, and they're going to come in to do a presentation for the public.
Your presentation will be up there. You can see it from there, so you'll know what slide on yours. But you have to be very clear from you once we get into that. Next slide. Back. Next slide. And there's a short delay. Okay. You want to? I wasn't in the room. I didn't keep up. Should you come to the closer to the mic and?
So we're going to get them all set up and mics are on. Welcome to our Interact Club. Thank you. Mr. Stansky is also here. Thank you, everybody, and welcome. And I would ask, I don't know who would like to do introductions. So everybody is online, including our trustees. You have our senior team here, but welcome. We look forward to hearing from you.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to introduce our executive team of the Interact Club. So this is Lisa Mueller. She is our contact with Rotary in Warrenville. This is Caleb Hunting. This is Haley O'Rourke, Danica Piquel, Lisa Kursa, and Isha LaRue. This is my executive team. And they're going to be presenting the slides and providing you some details of what we do.
Should I put up the slideshow?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Give me a second. view?
No. It's a Google slide. Yep.
Okay, so we are the Sturgeon Composite Interact team. We just want to.
No, I'm saying come up a little bit, if you don't mind. I know you guys are in the back, but if the whole team becomes. That is so much better. We can see you better, we can hear you better.
Okay.
Sorry for that, thank
No
you.
worries. Do you just want to go to the next slide?
Yep.
And one more. Thank you. All right, so today we're going to be talking about our impact first, and then I'm going to start off with our impact in Sturgeon Composite. Okay, our Interact group has helped run numerous school activities and create events within the school. Some of these things that we have done include Pie Teacher Day, which is basically where we ran an event where students could pay $3 to pie their teacher, and all the money we basically just donated to charity and kept some for ourselves to just recover our losses. Then we also helped with STEAM Day, which basically some members from our Interact team helped run events and stuff. World Polio Day, where we helped educate some of the students within our school about polio and how it's still not completely eradicated. We've also helped with Sturgeon Sheds, which is just again running some events, and the open house, where we have had set up booths to tell people what Interact is and how they should join next year, kind of, and help out.
Interact also has an outward impact to the community. We've done things such as decorating cookies for Smile Day at Tim Hortons. We did multiple blood drives. We did the potato harvest with P3 Farms, the Morinville Christmas Parade, and the trade show. And then we also have donated to Courageous Compassions, and then we actually have a blood drive on Saturday coming up. So we're excited for that.
With Interact, we are also connected within Rotary. So Rotary created little programs for Interact students to come and participate in to help them learn more about each other and what we want to do in the future. So there is this day camp called RILA, which is Rotary's Adventures, Rotary Youth Leadership. Rotary Youth Leadership Academy, sorry about that, where they learn more about just other people in Interact clubs and just allow everybody to kind of like share opinions and ideas on future projects. And then Rotary also has Riley and RIPEN. So Riley is a 4-day camp that I was able to go to last year with 2 other members who graduated. And there you learn about Rotary Youth Leadership Experience. So we learn about public speaking, communication skills, and just like how to get organized and everything. And then at RIPEN, it's more individual self-learning. So then you can learn more about yourself and like what you really want to do in your future. And then Rotary also has a program called RAR, which is in the summer, which I was also able to attend to. For 10 days, they send you to Winnipeg and you learn about human rights, and you just basically go and explore the Human Rights Museum and everything. So it was pretty cool and really worth it. Next slide.
So although our Interact Club is through Sturgeon, we really like to make an impact in our community for the people around us. And we have a few plans. Our first plan is a garbage cleanup in Morinville and Cardiff. And the next one would be a bottle drive in Morinville and Cardiff. We really like Morinville and Cardiff. Then it's going to be a food bank collection. And we're also going to be doing Military Child Day at Guthrie, which is my personal favorite. Love the potato sack races. And then we're going to be planning Sturgeon Stride Olympics, which is where everybody's going to come in and we're going to do like a big Olympic challenge day for our school. Everybody's going to have a great time. And we're going to be donating items to the food banks. For which food banks again?
I think it's the Morinville one.
Yeah, the Morinville and the Gibbons too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morinville and Gibbons food banks. Yeah, those are some of our future projects coming up. And yeah, here's some pictures. That is potato picking and looks like Military Child Day on the top. And
Then
yeah,
our blood drive, and yeah.
yeah. So there we go.
And then next slide, please.
Was there more pictures? Yes, there is.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Do
There's a lot of pictures.
you want to talk about those ones?
So on the left side is me and Maya. She also went to Riley with me, and that was just us finishing up the Morinville bottle drive just for one day. And then on the right side is the Smile Cookie Day. So 2 of our members, I believe, went to the Morinville Tim's, and they helped decorate smile cookies for the Jessica Martell Foundation. Next slide.
Connection with Rotary. Next. Rotary Club of Morinville Sturgeon is our sponsor club. They have supported the development and operation of our club as well as financial sponsored some members to attend camps such as Ryle, Ryla, and RAR. We also have supported Rotary events such as garbage cleanup, Morinville Trade Show, handing out candy at the Christmas parade, and coat check for the Morinville Community Christmas Party. We look forward to partnering in future events and initiatives. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions, comments from the board? Yes, Trustee Buga.
Hi, thank you guys so much for being here. This new Interact Club started a couple years ago and has been just such a huge benefit to our communities and our students. And so I appreciate everything you've done. I really wish we were all there in person to actually see you guys. But thank you for a fantastic presentation, and I hope that we get to see you again soon in person.
Trustee Gibbons.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I echo Trustee Buga's. The Interact Club is developing amazing young adults. You guys are an inspiration. Keep up the good work. The impact that you're having on the community and the school is positive, and you should be proud of yourself. And looking forward to the rematch in the potato sack race.
Hey, Tasha, it's Joe.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Trustee Dwyer has a comment.
Yeah, as a Rotary member, first of all, I'd just like to thank Lisa for, as a Rotary member, being a big part of this and getting it going. She's done some fantastic work and with you guys, and you guys have done some fantastic work. And I just want to say, as a Rotary member, we're really proud of you guys, and we're there fully for you. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will just add that Trustee Dwyer reports on your activities monthly, if not meetingly. And I feel like that we've watched your growth and development for a couple of years now. And so it's remarkable. I am so sorry we can't be there in person this time. I would have been very nice to meet you all in person, shake your hands. Thank you for your contributions to not only the school community, but our communities as a whole. It's been really wonderful. And looking forward to seeing and hearing more from you guys, because I know that you won't, it's not just a one and done deal for you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was really great coming out here and presenting. Yeah.
We're just really happy that you could listen to our presentation stuff. So thank you.
We look forward to much more from you guys. Thank you. Superintendent Warren?
I would like to say to all of you on behalf of the division, thank you. What is our job? Our job is prepare you to be citizens of tomorrow, and your voices matter. And you are very important to us, and that you are being role models and leaders and actually showing this, what does it look like to be leaders of tomorrow? I want to say thank you. It is, you've made a big impact. And when we hear things that are happening, we know a lot is happening, because often it takes a while for things to get out in the public. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Stansky. I want to say great thank you to Rotary. It is our community partnerships that are what are going to make you guys great citizens of tomorrow. So thank you. Keep up the fantastic work. And you are setting the bar high for all those students that come after you. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the division.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You guys were.
And we'll just give the group a moment to move into the other room, and then we will go back to the agenda here shortly. Okay, moving on to item number 7, action item 7.1, the 2026-2027 school calendar. Superintendent Warren, you want to start us off with this?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Shauna Warren, Superintendent. I will turn this over to the Associate Superintendent of HR.
Sorry, we're just having little feedback. Just going to take a moment. I know. I think we're okay now. My name is Lisa Lacroix. I'm the Associate Superintendent of Human Resources. The calendar for the 2026-2020 school year, we approved it in principle in September of 2024, and it was distributed to all staff, parents, guardians, and community members to gather feedback. We received 1,180 responses to the survey. Some of the key survey questions and responses are summarized in the memo that is attached. I'll just run through a couple of them. So a large majority of staff and most parents, guardians, community members strongly supported the continuation of the fall break. Just over half of parents and guardians and community members support shortening the fall break and lengthening the summer break. A large majority of staff prefer keeping the current length of the fall break. And most respondents felt that the number of PD days was appropriate, with a 50-50 split between whether they wanted those PD days on Mondays or Fridays. And then a couple of suggestions that we received were consideration for early dismissal once a month in place of so many PD days, and a great appreciation for having the opportunity to provide the feedback. Administration reflected on the survey results, and we did make some changes where possible based on this feedback. And in addition, we also had to make some adjustments to the 2026-2027 school year calendar based on diploma exam dates that were released. Administration is prepared to respond to questions, and a motion is required.
Okay, Trustee Briggs, I see your hand.
I'm willing to forward a motion.
All right.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the 26-27 school year calendar as presented at the March 19th, 2025 public board meeting.
Thank you. We're open for discussion. Any questions, comments, concerns? Trustee Gibbons. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm speaking in favor of the motion. I'm happy to see the response that we had at the feedback of that, and the collection of the data. So I'm happy to hear that.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, I call the question that the Board of Trustees approve the 2026-2027 school year calendar as presented at the March 19th, 2025 public board meeting. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried unanimously. Thank you very much for all of the work done by administration on that. 7.2, 2025 to 2028 3-year capital plan. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. I will turn it over to the Associate Superintendent of Corporate Services.
Thank you, Superintendent. So attached is the division's 3-year capital plan. It is a requirement to have our capital plan submitted and approved by April 1st of each year. This motion aligns with also the board policy in regards to review and approve annual 3-year capital plan. In comparison to last year, there are not many changes from the capital plan. Some enrollment figures and data at the end of the plan was updated. As we are aware, there was an announcement this morning, a positive announcement that our number 2 priority has been approved for design funding. It is recommended and good practice to keep it on your capital plan until you're approved for construction. Sometimes the government looks at both project 1 and 2 that you submit, and sometimes number 2 gets bumped up just based on project aspects and things like that. It's not out of the norm. It is totally okay for us to keep our project 2 as number 2 because it's still our 2 top contenders that the government looks at until we get approval for construction funds. On another positive note, the division has received approval for planning funds for our number 1 project. So I will say clearly we're doing something right that we got a project approved and planning funds for the other project. So we received about 90,000 for architectural and 45 for community engagement, which we have already done some of that community engagement work. But that is kind of a summary. Administration is here to answer any questions. I also do have the facilities, our director of facilities, Stephen Holcomb, here to answer any maybe more detailed questions we might have.
Trustee Buga.
I just want to say that I am very excited that MPS is, going to be able to move into that first step of planning what a new school might look like. And I look forward to hearing some community feedback on what the community needs as far as grade configuration and making sure that the community is well provided for from K-9 education at the very least here in town. So I think this is great. I'm just very excited.
Any other questions, discussion at the moment? Trustee Briggs?
I feel the need to bring this up. I was wondering if our Director of Facility Services can speak to the data collection and the data analysis. Of course, the community that I represent is Lillian Schick, Bon Accord, and Legal. There has been a considerable amount of work that has gone into Lillian Schick School that is not reflected on this data report. So I'm wondering if the Director of Facilities can actually speak to it.
Steve Holcomb, Director of Facilities. So the data, we're still collecting data on Lillian Schick and looking at that facilities condition index. We haven't analyzed it all completely yet, but we're still going through all the equipment and assets and evaluating at this point.
All right, Trustee Briggs.
And actually what I was speaking to is the considerable amount of work that has been done to Lillian Schick is that it's probably not reflective that Lillian Schick is actually in poor condition, that facilities has realized that an amount of work has gone into it. So this was done 8 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not really reflective of today. So I'm actually giving facilities some kudos that they've actually realized that Lillian Schick needed some loving care, and you guys have done your due diligence.
So thank you, Cindy. We have actually requested a new Alberta infrastructure assessment of the school, and I had a positive return email back from them saying they were going to put us on the list. So we're certainly paying attention to it.
Thank you.
Yes, I would second that. Thank you. You do a remarkable job with the very limited funding we have, trying to maintain all of our schools in the division. I'm going to ask for somebody to put forward the motion. Trustee Buga.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025 to 2028 three-year capital plan as presented at the March 19th, 2025 public board meeting.
Is there any further comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, I will call the question then that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2028 three-year capital plan as presented at the March 19th, 2025 public board meeting. All in favor?
Yes, sorry.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.3 evaluation of superintendent of schools. Get there. I think that the appropriate way to do this would be to put the motion on the floor and then open for discussion. So at this time, I'm seeking recommended motion. Trustee Gibbons?
I make the motion that the Board of Trustees approve the superintendent's evaluation report developed in the facilitated evaluation workshop of February 12th, 2025 as an accurate reflection of the superintendent's performance for the period from February 1st, 2024 to February 1st, 2025. And further, that the Board of Trustees authorizes the board chair to finalize the report by making any necessary technical edits and signing it on the board's behalf.
Okay, I'm going to open for questions, comments, concerns, discussion here. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to say a couple. Oh, Trustee Buga, thank you. Go for it.
Sorry, I know my hand goes up late after I think about it for a second. I just want to say that the process of evaluation of our only employee can be a challenge because there's so many working parts, and I just want to say thank you to the board and the superintendent for pushing through this this process every year to make sure that we are doing the best that we can for students in Sturgeon Public Schools. So thank you. I know it can be a daunting task that we do each year, but it is important, and I think that we are doing best for kids.
Trustee Briggs.
I just want to emphasize that the growth goals and positive path forwards are at the forefront of the board within the next year, and how important these were to the Board of Trustees. We took a long time to come up with those growth goals and how important they are to us in our division. As the trustee, before the board chair signs off on anything, I think the board should be apprised of any edits moving forward.
Certainly, there were no edits after the last email.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Yeah.
It's Joe here.
Hi, Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, you're okay, but also in the motion was to allow for changes in the before signed again. I just kind of question that.
Oh.
And the other thing, I'll probably be voting against this, and the reason is that there's a comment about our board at the end that I don't appreciate, and maybe so, but it doesn't need to be in there as written. So if it stays in there, I'll be voting no for this. And I'm okay with changes, but I agree with Cindy. If there is any more changes, maybe there won't be, but if there is, I want to see them before they go forward.
I would not sign something unless it was simple spelling and grammar.
I believe, well,
without bringing it to the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The question is going to be called, though, at this time to approve the recommended motion, and further that the Board of Trustees authorize board chair myself to finalize the report by making the necessary technical edits and signing on the board's behalf. So you know, we had plenty of opportunity to comment on the documents. I received 2 emails back. So at this time, we will be putting this motion forward and voting on it. So I'm going to call the question.
Sorry, Trish is waving her hand.
Sorry, Trustee Marie Elliott.
Well, and I just have one comment towards Joe's comment, which is I had some concerns too, which I expressed to Tasha verbally, but I think yes, there were some things in the report that I'm not 100% happy with, but I think if we focus on the growth goals and positive paths forward that came out of this report, I think the next report hopefully will be much more positive as a whole. So.
Okay, I'm calling the question then that the Board of Trustees approve the superintendent's evaluation report developed in the facilitated evaluation workshop of February 12th, 2025 as an accurate reflection of the superintendent's performance from the period of February 1st, 2024 and to February 1st, 2025. And further, that the Board of Trustees authorize the board chair to finalize the report by making any necessary technical edits and signing it on the board's behalf. All in favor? Five yeas. All opposed?
Yes, no, me.
Trustee Dwyer opposes. Carried. Gibbons School amalgamation 7.4.
Oh, you might not be able to see me. Sorry,
Superintendent
Chair.
Warren. Yeah, no,
Thank you.
saw
Shauna
you
Warren,
just came in.
No worries. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. I will pass this over to the Associate Superintendent of Corporate Services.
Thank you, Superintendent. Sean Nichols, Associate Superintendent of Corporate Services. So this report and motion is just in follow-up to our previous conversations around Board Policy 600 and to strengthen our #1 capital project in terms of the eyes of the government. We did that great community engagement work. We got positive feedback, positive information, lots to consider. And we would like to move forward so that we can include this with our approval, that we have done that at community engagement, and contingent on the given solution being approved, that we would move forward with that amalgamation of those two schools. So I just want to highlight that it's contingent on that project being approved. And again, that this is to strengthen our project. So hopefully we can get another one.
All right, I'm going to ask for the recommended motion at this time, and then we'll open for discussion and speaking in favor or opposed. Trustee Gibbons.
I put forward the motion that the Board of Trustees approve the Gibbons School amalgamation if the Gibbons and Lanny Trail School solution is approved for construction as part of the board's 3-year capital plan as presented at the March 19th, 2025 public board meeting.
Thank you. We're open for discussion. Anybody wishing to speak for or against? Trustee Buca.
I speak in favor of this motion. I'm excited to see, I know there's been a lot of changes in the town of Gibbons, and I know that they are excited to move forward with their growth plan. And I'm happy that we can be part of it. And this is just one more step in committing ourselves to make sure that Gibbons School is a priority.
Trustee Marie Elliott.
I'm not against this motion. I'm just a little confused by it as to why we're even having it, although I think in the back of my mind, I know that having this motion means we will go forward. And of course, our concern, as has been from the very, very beginning when the Gibbons amalgamation went to our #1, is this project hinges on a partnership with the town of Gibbons, and there is some uncertainty as to where the town of Gibbons stands in their ability to be our partner at the right time. So my concern is that if we are very anxious to go ahead with a new amalgamation as soon as we get funding, and if the town of Gibbons is not at the same point as we are, what does that look like? Because I believe the option there might be to build a new K-9 school on a piece of land that we already have. And that is not anything close to what we have presented to our community. I don't think that that option would be in the best interest of our students or our division or our community of Gibbons. And so just wondering how this motion fits into that potential situation.
Does administration want to respond?
Yes, Board Chair, sorry, I had my hand up, but
Yeah,
you couldn't see me because
okay.
I wasn't on the camera. So I believe this motion provides some flexibility. I will say we have been in discussions with the town. They are in full support. Yes, we are definitely looking at options. I based on the feedback we got, those options I think will consider community feedback that we've gotten from the community engagement as well too. But the town is in full support, and I again would say that this motion is flexible enough that it will allow us to adapt if we need to with other changing circumstances. But we are still in those conversations with the town. They have expressed their support of wanting to support the school division and obviously getting a new school in their area because that is a positive and win for them as well too. Hopefully that answers all your questions.
Could I just add, Chair, do you mind?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Just to say that from
Superintendent
board
Warren.
meeting to board meeting, of course, the board can make a motion to change things, but this is not passed. It does tie our hands because we have to follow policy. So we do need a board motion. So again, it's the board's will that in the future, and things do always shift and things change, but without this motion, it would tie our hands to move forward. And we have been giving the funding. So in order to move forward, we actually need this motion because it follows policy 600 and in the Education Act legislation around closure of the school because it is an amalgamation.
Trustee Gibbons?
Thank you, Board Chair. I just want to speak in favor of this motion. That it is, as far as board policy 600 goes in school closures, this is the step that we would have to make if we wanted to move to an amalgamation. It doesn't hinge on funding the things with going with Gibbons School. We can make the changes. And from the community engagement night, it felt that the community was okay with amalgamating the two schools and creating a K-9 school. Thank you.
Yeah, Trustee Briggs first.
I feel that we're all a little kind of torn with this motion. What is the rush for this motion? We've been giving money for our engagement. Is this something that we can put off for a month and discuss it more with the board? I don't think it's going to have any hindrance on our dollars that we've been allocated already. So I would be in favor to put this off for a month.
It's my feeling that this has been on our agenda for 6 months now. There have been many conversations. There have been many opportunities to amend or change or speak to it. I'm not sure that we need to delay it any further. Trish, you had your hand up a moment ago. Trustee Marie Elliott.
Well, just in response to Irene's comment of community support, I think they were given the scenario of a new school, K-9, attached to a rec center. And is the community aware that if we do something different, which would be to perhaps demolish 2 schools and build a new one, we would be going from 3 gymnasiums to 1 gymnasium if it's not attached to a rec center. So hopefully Gibbonstown will be close enough to us. I'm just fearful that we as a board don't push through something just to get a shiny new school, which sounds great in theory, but in the reality, if you're perhaps giving up some things in your schools that you won't have in your new school, let's not rush into that just so we can say, hey, we got a new school, aren't we wonderful? So yeah, I'm really not sure. I've had reservations on this whole thing right from the beginning, and it does feel a bit rushed to me.
I think it's also important to note that Gibbons School is almost 70 years old. It's had numerous health and safety concerns over the years. Previous boards have dealt with this and have pushed diligently for over a decade to get to this point currently. So I think it's worth noting that as well. Somebody in the boardroom has their hand up, so I will pass it over to them.
Thank you, board chair. It's me. I keep getting taken off the camera, so I'm like trying to wave at it to get it to recognize me. I would say that the reason why we're moving forward this is because we want to strengthen our project, and with just the expedient timelines, we don't want to miss out on opportunity. Yes, there were concerns about things brought up about amenities and things like that. We're looking at that to see how we can accommodate that. I would highlight that this says that construction is approved, that the construction piece has to be approved for this amalgamation to occur. So even if we got design funding, we would have to confirm that we had the construction approved as well too. It would be very tough to do this kind of with the other project being approved and continuing to do additional community engagement. Yes, we did get some funds, and yes, we can still continue to look at things, but I think in terms of board policy and following what is outlined for us in there, I do really think this motion provides us the flexibility, and we can continue to definitely take feedback and look at always how we can improve the project and make things better and more viable. But again, the school is also aging, and that is a big concern. We do have some rather large bills on repairs that need to be done for that school, and I think this would also be a positive to make that community continue to be sustainable and viable for our students.
Trustee Buga.
Sorry, thank you for allowing me to speak twice on this one, Chair. Again, I speak in favor of this motion mainly because this shows our commitment to the town of Gibbons, that we want to work with them. Our plan is to work with them, and we are confident that they say that they're on board, and we trust them. I would also say that this demonstrates a trust in our administration, that we will continue with community engagement. We will continue with transparent operations as this goes forward. This motion is very much, it's contingent on getting approved for construction. There's nothing that can happen without us making the next motion. And there is always opportunity for the board to change things going forward. So I think this is an important one. And again, just reiterating that I speak in favor.
All right, Trustee Briggs. And then I'm calling the question.
With all due respect, if we look at the facilities index, Gibbons School is in fair condition. Lillian and Schick is in poor condition. So with all respect there, I don't think we should be in such a rush. And with all respect, I do trust our partnership with the town of Gibbons. The town of Gibbons is going through a bit of a changeover right now. I'm not sure why we're in such a rush. I really feel that this could wait for a bit.
guess the last thing I will say is, as was mentioned earlier, the index is 8 years old. Many improvements have been made to Lillian Schick. It was in a certain condition 8 years ago, Gibbons School was, and has it improved or has it not? Again, I feel this has been on our agenda for many, many, many months. And so I'm going to call the question at this time that the Board of Trustees approve the Gibbons School amalgamation if the Gibbons and Landing Trail solution is approved for construction as part of the board's 3-year capital plan as presented at the March 19th, 2025 public board meeting. All in favor? Or 3 in favor, all opposed?
Yes.
3 opposed. I don't know where that leaves us in terms of the move forward here.
I'd ask the board chair if we can pause and look at board operations, but I'm pretty sure that a tie is approved, but we can double check the board operations regulation.
Would you like a short recess to do that?
No, yes, and actually I believe a tie, it fails. So we will need a recess to look at it. Thank you.
You got Janine's vote too. You have to consider for the tiebreaker.
He's not on the meeting at this time. All right, we're going to take a 10-minute recess. We will reconvene at 11:10. Recessing until 11:10. Okay, we are resuming the meeting at 11:09, 11:10 now. Superintendent Warren, can you read could you read the?
Yes, the legislation. So as per board procedures regulation section 9B, in case of an equality of votes, the question must be decided in the negative. Therefore, that motion would be defeated.
All right, motion is defeated. Moving on to 7.5, establishment of an advocacy committee or an ad hoc position statement committee. Oh,
sorry, just before moving on, could I our Associate Superintendent of Corporate Services, we would just like clarification so I know how we are moving forward with the Gibbons School amalgamation motion.
Thank you, Superintendent. Just for clarification, my interpretation of that is that we would like to bring this, although defeated, we would like to potentially bring back a similar motion later when we feel more comfortable with where the project is at. I just would like to confirm that.
Yes, I believe that was the will of the board. Okay, moving on to 7.5, establishment of an advocacy committee or an ad hoc position statement committee.
I would like to turn this over to the Vice Chair, if the Vice Chair would like to speak to this, and you're good with that, Trustee Buga?
Okay, Trustee Buga.
Thank you. This was brought up at a committee of the whole that we needed some dedicated people to focus on writing position statements, as it is not necessary that the whole board work on this project. Seeing that, I'm going to suggest, I assume that everybody has read the recommendations or the options there. I recommend that we go with option 2, establishing an ad hoc position statement committee. I'll speak to it before I put the motion in case anybody has any overarching discussion prior to the motion. But to me, I would like to I do not like the idea of reinstating the advocacy committee, as advocacy is the work of the full board, not a small section of it. I do not want the board to think that only a few people are in charge of that area of our work. That is definitely for all board members. So I prefer the ad hoc position statement committee, meaning that it is very focused on creating position statements, and it will be dissolved once that task has been completed for the year. I'm happy to answer any questions on why I feel that way, or any additional comments if there is other thoughts.
So you're going to read the recommended motion in its entirety?
I can do that now. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the establishment of an ad hoc position statement committee for the 2024-2025 school year with the following mandate, membership and term, review draft and refined position statements that reflect the board's advocacy priorities, ensure alignment of position statements with the division's mission, vision, and strategic direction, engage in research and consultation where necessary to support evidence-based advocacy, recommend finalized position statements to the board for approval and use in advocacy initiatives. Membership will be 3 trustees appointed by board motion, 1 administration support member to assist with research and drafting and coordination. The term of the committee will operate for the 24-25 school year and will be dissolved upon completion of its mandate or at the discretion of the board. Further, that the Board of Trustees appoint the following members to the selected committee for the 24-25 school year. We did have a volunteer intention from Trustee Murray Elliott as well as Trustee Gibbons. And I would also like to sit on that committee. So I'd say the 3rd trustee I would add to this motion would be myself, Trustee Buga.
Open for discussion. Trustee Murray Elliott.
It's interesting that anyway, I agree with you about not reinstating the advocacy committee. It's interesting that you're considering an ad hoc position statement committee for an entire year. In this case, that wouldn't really be a bad thing because there isn't a lot of time left in the entire year, and there probably, I don't know how many position statements you would presume to get on top of in that time. However, in my opinion, I would think a position statement committee should have members that feel very passionate about that particular position statement. And I wouldn't want to be on a position statement committee that I didn't necessarily feel passionate about, I guess. So that is the only concern I have about appointing members for an entire year, although some people might be able to get behind any and all position statements equally supportively.
So you're speaking against the motion or in favor of the motion?
I'm not sure. I guess I could speak in favor of option 2 for this year, but I would caution going ahead with that, or perhaps amending it to as per an individual policy statement term, if that can be arranged, unless people prefer to have one committee do them all.
Trustee Buga.
Just for clarification of the purpose of this committee is not to decide what the focus is. As in the mandate, it's review, draft, and refine position statements that reflect the board's advocacy priorities. So it would be based on the discussions at committee of the whole and our work plan that we create at the beginning of the year. This This committee would be specifically for drafting the wording of the position statements on topics that the board has chosen. It's more just the people doing the work of creating the position statement itself so that we can move forward with that in our advocacy as a board. So it would not be up to these people to define what our priorities are. It would be this group would just do the work.
Trish?
And that was my understanding. But again, I feel I would do a lot better work if I was passionate about a particular topic as opposed to not so much.
Okay, Trish, are you asking for your name to be removed from the ad hoc committee? I guess I'm confused as to you. On one hand, you're saying you support the ad hoc committee, but you might not be passionate about the position statement. So does that mean you want to stay on it, or do you want to come off?
I guess the question is, how many position statements would you foresee this committee doing in the next 6 months?
We only have a finite time to put the position statements forward for the fall general meeting. So, you know, it could be, I guess, any number of them, but there's only 6 months in which we don't even have that long. How long do we have to put forward the position statements for the fall general meeting? When is the deadline for that?
I believe it's till the end of June.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have
Or sometime in June.
3 months to create the position statements based on our work plan and our advocacy points that we created at the beginning of the year.
And I guess, as I said, I could get behind option 2 for the rest of this school year, but in the future, I don't know if having this committee is the best way to go or not. If there are certain people who think becoming very good at writing position statements, which it might be great to have a committee that can do that. Yeah, so.
Trish, this is only set up for the remainder of this school year. It ends at the end of the 2025 school year. So June 30th, when the position statements need to be put into ASBA, that's the end of the committee. This committee does not exist anymore after that. And if any group wants it to, they would have to create another committee in the future. So motion number 2 is what's on, or option number 2 is what's on the table. Is there anybody who wants to speak for or against who hasn't spoken already? All right, then I'm going to call a question. Oh, there's a lot of reading. That the Board of Trustees approve the establishment of an ad hoc position statement committee for the 2024-2025 school year with the following mandate, membership, and terms. Mandate: review, draft, and refine position statements that reflect the board's advocacy priorities. Ensure alignment with position statements with the division's mission, vision, and strategic direction. Engage in research and consultation where necessary to support evidence-based advocacy. Recommend finalized position statements to the board for approval and use in advocacy initiatives. The membership will be 3 trustees appointed by board motion. 1 administration support member to assist with research, drafting, and coordination. And the term of the committee will operate for the 2024-2025 school year and will be dissolved upon the completion of its mandate or at the discretion of the board. Further, that the Board of Trustees appoint the following members to the selected committee for the 2024-2025 school year: Trustee Buga, Trustee Murray Elliott, Trustee Gibbons. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried unanimously. 7.6, omnibus motion for board policies. That the Board of Trustees, oh, sorry. All right, we're on this. Can I get a motion, please? Oh, I'm sorry, Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Because our policy committee chair trustee is not on, I don't know if one of the other trustees on the committee would like to speak. So the board has been working on all policies, reviewing policies and looking at the GTEC model. The board has agreed to adopt the GTEC model. So part of that is looking at which policies are best suited for to keep as policies. And these did go. They've been to the policy committee. They've also been to the committee of the whole. But I would like to turn it over to whichever would like to speak from the committee, because that was the last group that worked through them.
Trustee Buga, Trustee Gibbons, Trustee Buga.
Yeah, I can speak to these. We kind of went through all of the policies that we currently have and some of the ones that kind of fit better into APs or can be included as statements within other policies have been brought to this omnibus motion. All of the rationale is included in the agenda package as to the why. And we look forward to having a really concise board policy package that has easy to follow, easy to understand policies for all trustees, staff member, and public going forward. I think this is some excellent work that our administration and policy committee has been doing.
Can I have the motion on the table, please?
I can do that. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the following omnibus motion to rescind the following board policies in alignment with the board's governance responsibilities and principles of effective policy making. Board Policy 100, History of Sturgeon Public Schools. Board Policy 215, Organization Chart. Board Policy 800, Religious Education and Instruction. Board Policy 805, Home Education. Board Policy 810, Offsite Activities. Board Policy 815, Outreach Programs. Board Policy 910, School Resource Officer.
Open for discussion, speaking for or against.
It's Joe here.
Trustee Dwyer.
I'm not sure how to carry this forward, but the one on our religious education one, there's a large concern in the community of Camilla that when the school was originally built, there was an agreement between the community and the public school and the government on continued religious education within that school. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if this is the right move on that one or not. And I know it's taken care of in some the Education Act, and it would be in our administration procedures. But at the same time, I would like to defer this one if we could. And the only reason is I think there needs to be a little bit more research. And I'm sorry to bring this on last minute, but I know the community's been talking to me about it. So I just think at this time I would like to get it deferred.
Trustee Buga.
Just for clarification, and if you'd like to make an amendment to the original motion, that's fine to do so. But just as the chair of the policy committee isn't present, just so that I can take good notes for her, what information are we looking for? And are we looking, I'm just not sure what the direction is so that I can bring it back to the next policy committee, please.
Yeah, and that's fair. What's been brought to me, and it was brought to me over the last a year and a half, but I guess someone read our agenda and phoned me again, that there was an actual written, I'll say contract or agreement between the Camilla parents and the Alberta government at the time when the first school was built in Camilla. I believe they were looking at being a Catholic school versus a public school, and to move to the public school, there was an agreement on continued religious education within the school. And I'm just not sure by changing this from a policy that maybe says something different, a little bit different than our Education Act, or what could be a administrative procedure, is a little confusing right now. And these people have indicated to me that they want to deal with, have some conversation with the government on that original agreement that they were all involved in. So that's about the best I could say to this, Stacy. I'm not sure otherwise.
Superintendent Warren?
Yes, and thank you, Trustee Dwyer. So if you actually look at the package and read through the policy that's there, the language is there is that legislation we have to follow legislation. And the Education Act is very clear. And so it's the religious and patriotic instruction or exercises, section 58(1), and it speaks about what the board can prescribe. So as a board may prescribe a religious instruction to be offered to the students, prescribe religious exercises for its students, prescribe patriotic instruction to be offered to its students, prescribe patriotic exercises for its students, permit persons other than teachers to provide religious instruction or exercise to its students, and it does go on and on. So that is the reason why, because the legislation is very clear, even with the out also of that, it is very clear in the Education Act. And again, legislation, any agreement that was ever made, this legislation, it captured all of that because we are public schools. And so we have that option to have religious and patriotic instruction. And that's why the recommendation was brought forward. That is on the policy as a description on it, as for the reasoning.
And thank you for that. I have read it. And but it's the word may that bothers people. And that means that the word may to them can't, not provided, and if seen by the board. And their concern is more that this was an agreement between the community and the school. And I know that's a long time ago, guys, but I guess I'll end it at that I'd like to see it deferred till they would like to get a hold of that contract. I believe someone said they have it, so they're looking for that right now, or that written agreement and signed agreement. So I'm not sure what it looks like. This is just a concern in my area. So,
Trustee Briggs?
I'm in favor of waiting till we're all together as a board, especially since our policy chairperson is not available at the meeting today. I am not going to speak in favor of the org chart. I think communication is really important between the board and our only employee, which is our superintendent. So I'm not in favor of that one. So I will vote against this today if we push it forward.
Anybody else speaking in favor or against? Trustee Murray Elliott?
Perhaps if it would be acceptable to Cindy and Joe, we could amend the motion to remove the policies excluding 800 and 215. Is that something the board would consider at this time?
I believe the processes will call the motion. If it's defeated, we'll move to an amendment piece. Am I correct in my assumptions?
yes, I think so.
Sorry to interrupt, Chair. It's actually, they make the amendment. We vote on the amendment. And then if the amendment passes, then that becomes the new motion.
All right. So Trustee Murray Elliott, you're making the amendment.
I would like to amend the recommended motion to read, am I doing it right? That the Board of Trustees approve the following omnibus motion to rescind the following board policies in alignment with the board's governance responsibilities and principles of effective policy making. Board Policy 100, Board Policy 805, Board Policy 810, Board Policy 815, and Board Policy 910, excluding policies 215 and 800 that were in the original motion.
All right, calling the question as just amended by Trustee Murray Elliott. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? Motion is defeated. The amended motion is defeated. So then we're back to the original motion. So then I'll read out the original motion again, that the Board of Trustees approve the following omnibus motion to rescind the following board policies in alignment with the board's Governance, responsibilities, and principles of effective policymaking, Board Policy 100, History of Sturgeon Public Schools, Board Policy 215, Organizational Chart, Board Policy 800, Religious Education and Instruction, Board Policy 805, Home Education, Board Policy 810, Offsite Activities, Board Policy 815, Outreach Programs, Board Policy 910, School Resource Officers. All in favor? 3, all opposed. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Associate Superintendent Corporate Services.
I just want to make a recommendation. I think we should defer this. Yeah, just from the sense I'm getting, I think we should defer this and maybe have a different conversation. I just want to provide the recommendation before we move forward with the motion. I'll leave that to the trustees but I just want to make that recommendation.
Yeah, I think whether we vote on it or not at this time, it's going to get deferred to the next committee of the whole. So we'll just defer it to the next committee of the whole, I feel. Any objection to that? All right.
You do have something on the floor though, Tasha. You did call for a vote there.
Okay.
I'm just
Then
not sure to be official there. So
I will amend the motion that the Board of Trustees defer the following omnibus motion to rescind the following board policies in alignment with the board governance, responsibilities, and principles of the effective policymaking. Board Policy 100, History of Sturgeon Public Schools, Board Policy 215, Organizational Chart, Board Policy 800, Religious Education and Instruction, Board Policy 805, Home Education, Board Policy 810, Offsite Activities, Board Policy 815, Outreach Programs, Board Policy 910, School Resource Officers.
Sorry, Chair, I don't mean to interrupt, but there actually was a motion on the floor. So the amended motion was defeated, but then the original motion was read. So we just have to get that vote on record. So if you could just finish that one, and then you have this second amended motion that you could just ask for the vote on your amendment, but you have to go back to the original motion, please, because you did call the vote. Thank you.
Okay. Going back to the original motion, all in favor of the original motion? 3 in favor, all opposed?
Joe.
3 opposed. Motion is defeated. Do I need a motion to recommend it to the next public board meeting?
Yes, I think, but then I'm not sure if that was clear in what you said, but you could just state that piece again just for the vote right before, because you did read the whole thing, but to defer.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to recommend or amend. I'm recommending that we defer this particular motion, that the Board of Trustees approve the following omnibus motion to rescind the following board policies in alignment with the board.
Point of order, Chair. Defeated motion cannot be brought back to the table.
Okay. Then we're moving on. Admin reports. 8.1, Edwin Parr, First Teacher Division nominee. First Year Teacher Division nominee, Trustee or Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I will open and I would welcome you to finish if you would like. We are very excited that we actually had 7 first-year teachers who were nominated for the Edwin Parr First Year Teacher Award, and that is very exciting for us. They are all outstanding candidates, and I know they are all going to be wonderful teachers for the length of their career, and that the board did choose as the nominee from the division that moves forward to the ASBA Zone 2-3 selection committee was Ella Stanley, who is at Sturgeon Heights School. But I would turn this back to you, Chair, since it was the board who voted on this, if you would like to say anything further.
Just that the Board of Trustees is very proud of all of our first-year teachers. Competition was incredibly intense, and the board did not take lightly the decision making. It was contentious and came right down to the very end. We are very, very proud to have selected Ella Stanley, and we wish her all the best going forward. Any other comments from the board? Okay, first, Trustee Duca.
Our Deputy Superintendent Conrad would like to add a few words, please, and thank you.
Sorry, Board Chair, and thank you for capturing the discussion that we've had together. And the reason why I wanted to interrupt was actually to share this, as we are public, and I felt it's important for our public actually to see briefly the 7 nominations. It is our strongest, or one of our strongest showings, certainly in some time, and as you described, speaks to the strength of education and our teachers that are in our schools. Thank you. I just wanted to share that with the public.
I would add to that also to please watch on social media, because the week after spring break that there will be highlights of all of our wonderful Edwin Parr nominees along with our winners. So you will see individual spotlights on each one.
Fantastic.
I have a comment. Tasha.
Yes, Trustee Dwyer.
Just on behalf of, I'd just like to congratulate all the nominees too, publicly, and all our teachers really, but our nominees are special people, and congratulations on those, your peers and people around you nominating for this special award. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further discussion. 8.2, Numeracy Support in Sturgeon Public Schools 2024-2025.
Sorry, Chair, I don't know if it comes through. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I will be turning this over to the deputy, and in turn it will go to our coordinator, a curriculum coordinator, but I will start with our deputy.
Thank you. Yeah, John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. And as the superintendent just mentioned, the person in schools closer to understanding this and interpreting it with our teachers of mathematics and helping our students be numerate is what I was going to say. I'm not sure if that's the right word for that, but certainly have strong numeracy skills. Just to remind the board, though, as we walk through this carefully, is that we are still in a continued rollout of screeners from the provincial government. So our data is evolving in that it's new across the province, and everyone engaged in education of young people and their math skills is working on interpreting this to our best of our abilities. But with that and better insights, here's our coordinator of curriculum and instruction, Nicole.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. Just, to start off, we've really looked at the support that we can provide for numeracy learning and in mathematics is really under that umbrella of those empowered learning environments that comes directly from our education plan. And so with that in mind, we've really tried to frame our supports around that particular piece. And so as Deputy Superintendent Conrad mentioned, we definitely are, diving fully into these numeracy screeners now. And we did grades 1 through 4 in September and January. And in January, we added for the first time as well our kindergarten students. And we were able to complete that work. And so that was good and really speaks to the efforts of the teachers and staff in our schools. So when we look at our data from our numeracy screeners, the data actually in our K-4 space is really positive, and especially in grades 1 to 4, where we now have a couple of years to look at and compare, we can see that we are heading in the right direction. And I think that the opportunities we've had to come together as teachers in these grades and in this subject area, and to work alongside one another in understanding new curriculum and understanding how kids come to learn math, and in particular understand the relationships of numbers. We can see that is paying off, and we have made great gains from that first year that we had to do these screeners with students. And we see that same evidence when we look at our French immersion data as well. So that's really positive. When we look moving into our Division 3, so into grade 9 and into grade 12, data, we can still see some of those lagging results of students who missed some really core years of instruction through learning interruption through COVID. You know, if we look at our grade 9 students, you know, grades 5 through 7, they experienced serious interruptions in their mathematics learning. And in grade 12, you know, grade 8s through 10 were interrupted. And so we continue to see the effects of that. But one of the positives looking forward to our plan supports is that, you know, curriculum is moving up into these grades. And with that movement means a lot of increased opportunities to bring our educators together to understand both curriculum and instruction and implementation of that piece. And so with that work together, we hope to be able to continue to move that data in a positive direction as well. And so just other than that, in our plan supports, we really are looking for a universal screener that will help us in our grades 5 through 10, 5 through high school, as curriculum shifts and the MIPI no longer is relevant really to that curriculum learning. So we continue to explore options there. And as well, we have a planned really deep dive into the grade 6 PAT in fall of this year, as this will be the first year that we'll be doing a provincial assessment of grade 6 math curriculum. So in order to help our teachers understand really what Alberta Education is looking for from that particular curriculum and what that success criteria is, this PAT will be our first opportunity to really dive deeply into that. So that is planned for this fall. Yeah, and other than that, you know, some of the challenges we just keep facing is that we did have some grant money for numeracy intervention this year, but it was greatly reduced, which meant our ability to provide timely intervention to students across the division was limited this year. We still certainly, you know, have done our best, and we've made some great gains in those spaces that we were able to reach. But you know, that alongside the timing of some of these screeners can provide a challenge for us in terms of screening in September is very difficult, particularly in our younger grades where teachers are just establishing routines and relationships with these students. But yes, that's kind of our work this year in a nutshell. So thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Open to the board. Trustee Marie Elliott.
Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate this report. My comment, I guess, is very happy to see the positive results in the early learning numeracy numbers. Again, I have to say, though, I'm a bit disappointed in our provincial achievement tests and our diplomas. Yes, I know COVID is still showing its ugly head, but when you compare us to Alberta, which also went through COVID, we're still lagging significantly. So hopefully with our positive early results, I think we really have to focus on, sorry, I apologize in advance if I'm sounding a bit disjointed. I had a very late day yesterday. So if we can focus on our positive early results and somehow carry them through into the upper grade, I think that's awesome. As far as the board goes, I would really like us as a board to continue advocating. We had received a great report from our teachers on the some effects and recommendations of some of this additional testing that was going on. And I think at some point we should share that with the government. I don't think we've done that yet. And just really try to focus on how to move these positive results forward and keep them looking great as we move into the upper grades. I don't know, is it just kids lose interest as they get older? But this gives me a lot of hope. So keep up the great work, and hopefully as you become more aware of how we can manage this, make sure you let the board know so that we can support you properly.
Trustee Buga.
Yeah, thank you for the report. It's always good to understand what's happening on these, like with the data. I agree with Trustee Murray Elliott. It's great that we've got these advocacy points that you included in there so that we can support you better with the Alberta government. So having those clear asks and what we can do as trustees at the board level is really important to support our advocacy as well. So I appreciate that. I did have one comment at a conference we were at recently. There was a presentation about family engagement and how that actually affects literacy and numeracy outcomes. And the research that they were, one of the research papers or studies they had referred to said that family engagement actually increases math achievement tenfold, which is incredible. And I know that our schools do a lot of family engagement, and that's been a very top priority in our most recent education plan is including family in that. I'm just wondering if maybe some of that data could be included in these numeracy numbers, just to see if we're seeing a correlation between that. Maybe some schools have, you know, more family engagement or more family engagement opportunities, and maybe they are seeing more improvements in numeracy, but it would be interesting to see if there is that correlation or if that is affecting our schools as well. Because 10 times more improvement in mathematics is a pretty significant number. And I know that that's something that we have recently kind of made that a real focus in our schools, especially coming out of COVID where everything shut down. So going forward, if that's something that is on your radar, I would love to see a bit of that showing up in those numeracy reports as well, because it takes a village. But thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Seeing none, thank you very much. And I would echo Trustee Buga's sentiments about the advocacy points. It's always helpful when we know how we can best support from the 30,000 foot level. Moving on to Technology Service Report Spring 2025 update, Superintendent Warren.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I will say thank you to our curriculum coordinator. Thank you, Nicole, for that great report. And yes, I want to say thank you also as Nicole is leaving to the team, because the screeners, as you know, on behalf of the board, we did share our survey results. We filled all of that in. And that is why the advocacy points are on there for you, because we have been, these screeners are new, and the board has, and other boards have been asking for feedback, and the government. So I just want to say thank you as Nicole is leaving, because it's a lot of work on top of to also fill out surveys that is to share the experiences that they're seeing in schools. So I want to call them out on that. And I really appreciate them also putting the advocacy points for you so they're easy accessible to you. And we are moving on to technology services. So I will turn it over to the deputy and then in turn to our director of technology services.
Thank you, John Conrad, deputy here again. In a similar fashion, I have invited the director of technology services to speak with far greater insight into the work of his team. I know a couple of years ago he came here and spoke quite clearly, I felt, to the board about things like technology deficit or debt that we need to address, and I believe this report reflects some of the action on that, both completed and planned forward. So with that, I'll turn it over to the director of technology.
Thank you very much, Deputy Superintendent, trustees and superintendent. As the deputy has mentioned, we did look at a couple of years back our technical debt and started to analyze what we could do to improve our overall situation. Thank you to the leadership of the board and the senior leaders. Some strategic initiatives were established. A couple of them I want to highlight. Windows 11, it's currently ongoing. It is a requirement from both Microsoft, but also improves our overall security platform. And we are currently rolling that out into the schools. We're doing this in a phased approach so that we're disrupting the schools as little as possible by doing each school separately. We also remain within the schools for a few days following to ensure that there's a smooth transition, and any software that a specific teacher may be using will be able to be moved to their new machines. The other one to look at, I would like to highlight, is our student registration system overhaul. This is an initiative that has been attempted a number of times in the previous years, and we're very excited that we're able to put it forward and in fact use it for this coming school registration period. This new solution will provide us a lot of opportunities for growth and features moving forward, and it will continue to improve and decrease the overall manual processes that are in place, improve the experience of the parents who are doing the registration, and overall increase the functionality that we can provide. By making these strategic investments, we are continuing to move forward, continuing to address our technical debt, and I look forward to working on more projects as the years move forward. So at this point, thank you, and I welcome any questions.
Questions from the board? Trustee Marie Elliott.
Just a comment, and sorry if I'm disjointed. I just want to thank you for the wireless network modernization. I know Sturgeon Heights in particular has had some frustrations with Wi-Fi within the schools, so I really appreciate that. And on a whole, as a technological dinosaur, I just want to say thank goodness for experts like you that keep us in a good place. So keep up the great work. Thanks.
Trustee Bucca.
Thank you, Chair. I was just curious, with the student registration overhaul, is that going to confuse me as a parent trying to register my kid? I know sometimes small changes on the back end end up being unfamiliar territory for parents when they're registering. Just wondering what that looks like for kind of on that user end.
Thank you very much for the question. Absolutely. There's a couple of levels to that. One of it being we will be pre-populating data so that you're not typing up nearly as much information into the form. As well, this software that we have implemented is used by other school divisions. So if you move from, or a parent and family move from one school division to another, there is a good chance they will be familiar with the software and that process. So absolutely, I do believe that this overall will improve the functionality, but also the usability, which is important to me for the parents.
Did I see another hand? Okay, seeing none. Oh, Trustee Briggs.
Thank you for your report. I like all the advancement that our division is making. When it comes to the wireless network modernization, the schools that you listed, are those the ones that have caught up, or where is our division with the wireless modernization? Are we still in transition, or is this kind of the last of them?
Thank you for the question, Trustee. Unfortunately, with technology, we're never at the end. It will continue as we move forward. However, these locations we brought up to a modern standard. So what we had the funding in previous years, and we're able to do a bunch of the schools, and this brought all of the schools to parity when it comes to our Wi-Fi network. Though not mentioned here, we've also increased the bandwidth at a few of the locations that were having trouble. So we certainly are focused on ensuring that the Wi-Fi is as good as we can make it, and continue to monitor that moving forward.
And that is the exact answer I wanted to hear, is that we have brought them up to parity. So as a division, because that is our job as the Board of Trustees, to ensure that our schools are all within parity. So thank you.
All right. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much for the report. And we will move to 8.4, stakeholder engagement adjustment.
Thank you, Chair.
Superintendent Warren?
Is that? Yep. Thank you. Sorry, I apologize for cutting you off. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. So every year we bring you forward because again, we do stakeholder engagement every year and we have multiple ways we engage all of our stakeholders. And thank you, Robert. And I will turn it over to the deputy just to speak about our engagement.
Thank you, Superintendent and Board Chair. This is for your information. Every year captured in the Ed Plan, we lay out how we're going to engage our stakeholders. This year, we've needed to do an adjustment based on the labor action. We had originally intended to do a similar in-person engagement at school councils, but it was difficult for school councils to meet through this time. And so we have to amend that and remove it. But I would like to remind the board that we are currently right now surveying grade 4, 7, and 10 students, 4, 7, and 10 parents. We also will be in April going with our in-house survey to all students grade 4 and up though, and to all parents. And the survey does mirror a lot of the Alberta assurance measure survey, but now we can go to all parents and all students, which helps give us some robust feedback. We still plan to do an in-person engagement facilitated by our student advisory representatives back into their school to get in-person engagements with all students. And the one thing that we're quite excited about is an in-person engagement for our business community partners. We would like to invite on April 15th, we have begun, the invitations that they have been going out to leaders in our communities, community leaders, be they local or political, and also business leaders, be they small business or large business. We would like to come to the table and move beyond a conversation we've had in the past. The conversation in the past has been, how can we in our school get kids ready for when they leave us after school? And that is a good conversation, and we'll continue that. But the focus of this engagement, as we see exciting opportunities like Building Futures and our work with the aviation group and our dual credit in the sense of the now, right? We're looking at what and how can we partner in the now with businesses. For experiences on a Friday afternoon, we could take kids to in businesses, or sustained or better wrap and work experience opportunities or internship opportunities. So our engagement on April 15th, which will be at the Morinville Cultural Center, beginning at 6:30, is to really seek that conversation to try to excite and better pathways for us to work with our local business leaders. So that is an update on our engagement for the board, and prepared to take questions.
Questions, comments? Seeing none. Oh, Trustee Duga. Sorry, didn't wait long enough.
Surprise. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the update as you present the education plan, a year in advance. And I know we'll be looking at the next year's education plan next month already. But knowing how things are changing and how you're still aligning it, I know this aligns very closely with our work plan, and the work that we're doing at the board level as well. So I appreciate these updates to make sure that we don't miss out on the understanding of why things didn't happen or are happening. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Trustee Murray Elliott.
I just want to say thank you, Jonathan. Stakeholder input is so important to help us make decisions and guide the division. And I know it takes a lot of work. And so thank you very much for your commitment to this particular subject.
Trustee Briggs.
I know at our Public School Board Association, last meeting that we had. We did have a presentation from a school board. They were using IAP2 and had a lot of good information. Stakeholders are not just our parents, they're everybody in our community that we need to bring together. It does take a village, and they're all part of our village. So I think it would be beneficial to reach out to that board because they did end up getting the award and were very successful with their engagement process.
Trustee Vega?
Sorry, can I just ask for clarification from Trustee Briggs? What's IAP2P? P2? I don't know
It
that
is a-
acronym.
You know what? We didn't either. He kept on talking about it. So it is an AI program. Stakeholder engagements can be very costly, and there can be more staff there than stakeholders. It is a program that they use to facilitate the program. I can't exactly speak on it. They just said, like they said, they got the award. It was very successful. It minimized the amount of work. It was very detailed. It was great. I think it would be very beneficial for our board to reach out to their board. Oh, and our superintendent has her hand up.
Yeah, just to clarify, IAP2, it's actually been around for years. It's actually a company and it's actually an engagement process. So they engaged a company, an external consulting company, but IAP2, it is an engagement process. So it's not, or that's not, it's just the name of it. So it stands for International Association for Public Participation. So it has been around for a while and it gets thrown around a lot when we're talking about engagement, even for superintendents, when we're talking about assurance domains or whatever. So it's actually just a framework to do it, but they engaged an external company to come in and do it.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further hands up, we can move on to 8.5 Communications Report, February and March 2025. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I will turn it over to the deputy.
Thank you. John here, Deputy Superintendent. For your information is our monthly update on some of the division level work that communications is doing. Has been highlighted in other ways. They've been promoting our new registration process, but it's the time to encourage families to re-enroll so we know good numbers and can plan accordingly in our schools. They've also been talking again about Guthrie School as we seek to grow enrollment there, both in their early childhood, but also throughout the school. Summer school has also launched, and just quick early feedback, launch has been going well. Within that first morning, again, we filled up our phys ed experience, which this year actually will be an enhanced experience. We're partnering with, and I can't remember what I can't remember what the acronym stands for, Superintendent, but I apologize for that. We're partnering with a group that will allow for the first few days of this phys ed experience in summer to do Gila. Yeah.
Gila.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm like, which Camp Gila.
Thank you.
Camp Gila.
We are partnering with Camp Gila. And I know we're not the first group to partner with them. They're well established working with schools and working with groups during summer for this experience, but this will allow our kids to do some river rafting and some hiking and some mountain biking actually in the mountains, which really enhances our phys ed. Now that's already on a wait list, but we do encourage families to enroll into the wait list because families do cancel between now and summer, and we have gone to that wait list before. Other things we've highlighted, of course, are great young athletes. We celebrated our all-stars from across the schools for basketball, and we are also now. We've had such great promotion with Building Futures. We're in a process now that I know Division Principal Dan Stevens is going and assisting with a bit of an interview process actually to ensure that the students that commit to this innovative program or grade 10s will spend their year on site building a school and also achieving all of their grade 10 high school education. That we have the students that are aligned with the values of that program and are able to work in an innovative place like that and be successful. Prepared to take any questions to the communication report.
Questions, comments from the board? Trustee Gibbons.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to offer my thanks to the communications department for their continued effort in striving towards their goals and exceeding them, and the positivity that's been coming out with their campaigns for the division. And I just appreciate it.
As a parent of a student who participated in the Hela Camp, I can say that it was probably one of the most positive experiences he had. So I'm pleased to see that we are partnering with them here in Sturgeon. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the superintendent's report 8.6.
Thank you, Chair. My report is there as information. I would just like to say that I was very fortunate the last couple of years. I've had conflicts in my calendar, so I was not able to attend the citizenship ceremony. So I attended it the first year, and then I got to attend it again this year, which is its 4th year. And the first year there were 20 citizens that were sworn as Canadian citizens, and this time we were up to 80. 80 or 90. It was amazing. I think it's wonderful that our students in our school and Four Winds gets to participate in that. It's pretty amazing to watch people crying because they're so excited to belong to our free democratic country. So that was amazing. I would also like to give some shout outs to our communities around because you know, we cannot do this alone, and community partners all are so important. And attending reflections of her here in Morinville over the weekend, just with our FCSS and all of our amazing volunteers. And I am going to give a shout out to Trustee Buga. Trustee Buga, you volunteer so much and you are seen and heard in your community. And it was evident that day. And there are so many people, and hence why the board has nominated for the PSBA Friends of Education Award, Jesse's house, and going through that group of people and getting the Inspire program going in our school, because these are people volunteering their time and doing such amazing work for our communities and our people. So I just wanted to speak to that because in such a difficult time over this last 2.5 months, it was filled my cup to participate in those two things. So I just wanted to call attention to that, but otherwise my report is there as information.
Thank you, Superintendent Warren. Any questions for the superintendent? Trustee Gibbons?
Just wanted to thank you again for your report. Oh, and thank you, Chair. I know that this is, you know, just a glimpse, shall we say, at the things that you do. And I just want to make note on the record of with the challenges that we have had to go through, and I mean by the division and the staff in our schools, how you still managed to do so much in building the effective relationships within the division, within your team, and the greater province, shall we say, because I know that's been a big important goal for the board, is that relationships. And so I just wanted to take the time to acknowledge that. So thank you.
Trustee Buga?
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to ask the Indigenous Parent Advisory Committee. I'm happy to see that they have met again, and I'm just wondering if there's any updates that you can bring from that. That call to action package also sounds interesting. I don't know if there's any resources that can be shared with the board so that we can have a better understanding going into particularly Indigenous Peoples Month, but just for our own learning as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because we have a great hub for our staff that go on there, and it's great resources. Yes, the parent advisory, Indigenous parent advisory meeting did go forward. They did it all. There did not the largest turnout, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Conrad because we were very concerned. As you know, and I'm going to give a shout out to the team. For Ed Services to try to keep these things going. As the board knows, anybody who was here at central office that could be deployed out in schools were deployed. And so a lot of our additional meetings, evening meetings, events, we paused them because we wanted to respect people who are trying to do their own work plus the work of others, because our job is to keep the school division running and do what's best in interests of students. So it was actually Ed Services who felt that the meeting was already scheduled, that they felt that they could run the meeting. And so they did. And so I will turn it over though to the deputy just to speak more specifically to the evening.
Thank you, Superintendent. John Connor, Deputy Superintendent here. And I keep saying my name because often the camera doesn't catch me. If you're wondering why I keep leading in that way, and I apologize, but I think it's good to know who might be speaking from off camera. At any rate, it was a smaller turnout, but it was a good discussion by parents of Indigenous students, Indigenous parents from our community that really want to get together and just talk about their experience and also connect with our leadership. So, Maxine Hildebrandt, our coordinator, certainly put it together, but it was actually run by Daniel Lehman, who is our Métis learning coach this year, and the parent co-chair, Ratel Poitras, which was excellent that there was, parent-led parts of this, and they really just talked about what are some upcoming events that we can promote and be excited about. And they talked about Red Dress Day and Moose Hide Day that can be opportunities in our schools, and so we're going to, take that forward to our schools to seek what plans they're making. They also talked about this year, again, due to some setbacks, we're unlikely to have a centralized National Indigenous Peoples Day celebration. And however, if you look at our exam schedules, even though it is on the Saturday, which is actually excellent, allows us all to participate in community-led events, we have moved our exams away from the Friday immediately preceding the National Indigenous Peoples Day. And that will allow schools to host local honoring and local tradition and local celebration. And we're really working, this group is leading it, but this group is also leading it with the call to action, which is our teachers in our schools, to try to reach out to parents, grandparents, community leaders, knowledge keepers, but as connected to that school as possible, because it really has, we've seen when that happens, a real growing of pride of the Indigenous students within that building, as their aunt, their uncle, their mother, their grandparent, leads out some dance or some part of culture that can be celebrated, and it just really makes some good connections. So it was a small group, and when we have more lead up time, we will certainly share with the board how that's going forward. But it was designed for parents to talk with the leadership who is making these celebrations in our school, to just have a chance to talk.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments regarding the superintendent's report, we will try, I think what we'll do is we'll try and get through number 9 and then break for lunch. So reports from trustees and standing committees, 9.1, chair's report. Apologies for the late addition to the agenda package, but it is there now for your review. And I just want to speak to the ASBA's Friends of Education Award nomination. So a little bit of background is the ASBA Friends of Education Award recognizes individuals or organizations that have made exceptional contributions to education within Alberta's public, Catholic, and Francophone school divisions. This prestigious award highlights those who foster learning opportunities, demonstrate leadership in education, and provide meaningful benefit to students and school communities. Sturgeon Public School Division Board of Trustees is proud to nominate the Jessica Martell Memorial Foundation for the 2025 Friends of Education Award in recognition of its transformative contributions to student well-being and community-based learning. The Jessica Martell Foundation was established in memory of Jessica Martell, a mother who tragically lost her life to domestic violence. In her honor, the foundation was created to advocate for victims, provide safe shelter, and offer educational programming to prevent cycles of violence. Over the years, the Jessica Martell Memorial Foundation has expanded its impact beyond crisis intervention, launching proactive initiatives to equip students with knowledge and skills necessary for personal growth, leadership, and resilience. As was already mentioned in this meeting, they are the most significant contribution to our education programming is the Inspire program. It was recently highlighted on CTV News. And the board firmly believes that the Jessica Martell Memorial Foundation exemplifies the values of friendship, exemplifies the values of the Friends of Education Award, sorry. I just wanted to say a personal thank you to the foundation for their contributions to specifically our students and the valuable leadership training that they bring to our groups. Is there anybody else on the board who'd like to comment? Okay, seeing that. Oh, Trustee Buga, I try to wait long enough for you.
Sorry, I try to give everybody else a chance because you all know my hand's gonna go up eventually here. I want to reiterate thank you to the Jessica Martell Foundation. They have been working in this community for so long, and having this partnership with our schools is incredible. I appreciate that they were able to take time out of their days to present to us a few months ago. I don't even remember when that was, but I'm pretty sure it was within this last school year. Again, thank you, and for not only committing to the program, but expanding it to support our boys as well is a huge step forward. And thank you.
Yes, this nomination reflects Sturgeon Public School Division's appreciation for the foundation's leadership in fostering supportive and inclusive learning environments. And through this recognition, we aim to highlight the Jessica Martell Memorial Foundation Foundation's initiative approach to student empowerment and extraordinary role it plays in strengthening the educational landscape in our communities. So all the best. I hope that they receive all of the recognition they deserve. Moving on to other trustee reports, we'll start with Trustee Buga.
My report has been submitted. I guess of note, I just wanted to say that for Rural Caucus, they had kind of a different format this meeting. They generally have meetings prior to the spring and fall general meetings of Alberta School Board Association. So this one was prior to the Alberta Rural Education Symposium, so kind of an extra meeting. So they did not do a lot of board work, but we went through kind of a World Cafe style engagement session regarding probably about 10 different advocacy issues and some really great conversation. I love to hear that rural school boards are just so creative in the way that we face challenges, and it's just a little bit different than you see in the metros. That and Alberta Rural Education Symposium, I've done up the reports as always. They are in our Google Drive for any trustees who want to see who spoke at those. They were both very valuable, I thought. That's all. Thanks.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, just all the normal stuff. But one thing I do want to bring forward is in the River Kabar area, we'll be hosting in July in cooperation with the Rotary and the RCMP. There's going to be a camp there for our grade 9, 10, 11 and 12. They're only taking 33 students, but from the high school. But it's going to be a camp just like they're going to Regina to be an RCMP, and it's to give them some visibility of emergency services. It's a 3-day camp. They'll stay right at the facility, and they got every aspect of emergency services coming in to work with them. And it's a great opportunity for our youth. And I just want to brag a little bit about our new facility with the gym and everything else. We were able to host these type of things. And those type of programs are starting to happen on a regular basis. But this is for our students, and they're doing an application process right now. And the SRO at, SRO, he's a big part of making this happen. That's involved in our school. So it's really good thing, and it's a great thing for our students. So I just want to mention that today.
Thank you, Trustee Dwyer. Trustee Murray Elliott.
Yeah, my report has been submitted. It's been kind of a busy month, even though we're barely past halfway through. Highlight has been working closely with a very committed and dedicated team for most of the busy stuff this month. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you, Trustee Murray Elliott. Trustee Briggs.
My report has been submitted. Kind of echo Trustee Murray Elliott. It's been a busy month. Looking forward and optimistically going back into our schools in the near future.
Yes, thank you. Trustee Gibbons.
Thank you, Chair. My report is submitted, and I'm actually looking forward to Friday because I am on the Zone 2-3 Edwin Park Committee, and we have our first meeting. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that process and seeing our nomination. But I'll be neutral.
Thank you. All right, moving to the Committee of the Whole report. It's in the package. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none. Policy Committee report. Trustee Buga, you spoke on behalf of Trustee Pequin earlier. Would you like to continue?
Yeah, I can. Policy Committee has been trying to kind of keep up with migrating to a GTEC model, as well as reviewing our regular policies as we have a schedule, we have a tracker, we're trying to keep them up to date as much as possible. Of course, circumstances have taken a lot of administration time out of policy and review and all of that kind of stuff this year, but we hope to continue the good work and make sure that we are at very least checking all of the legislative boxes and reviewing our really important policies each year to set up the next board for success.
Questions or comments from the board? All right, seeing none. We have the reports from special committees and task groups, but I'm not sure that there's enough time to go through them before we break for lunch. So what is the feel of the board? Push through these, number 10, or break? Okay, I see enough nodding heads to suggest that we will push through number 10 before we break for lunch. So 10.1, the Alberta School Boards Association representative, Trustee Gibbons.
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually going to defer this one to Trustee Buga, as I was unable to go to the Zone 2-3 meeting as I was at a negotiation meeting.
Trustee Buga.
Thank you again. Yeah, I attended Zone 2-3 last Friday. We had some discussion about some advocacy letters that I look forward to discussing with the board in Committee of the Whole, and making sure that we are aligning with our fellow school divisions and making sure we are thoroughly discussing advocacy issues. There was a lot of talk about ASBA, and now with the Ministry of Health being very much revamped at the provincial level, where we should have a voice, or we could have a voice in how that restructuring comes out. So that is a priority for Alberta School Board Association, to make sure that they are at the table when new ministries of health are being created, and their priorities need to align with ours as schools are taking on more and more of that health piece. Not a lot of updates. Again, we are working hard at ASBA zone level to go through position statements and have everything prepared and discussed within our member boards. So that's the basically Northern Alberta boards, so that we are prepared for June.
Thank you. Public School Boards Association of Alberta representative, Trustee Briggs.
We do have a meeting on April 9th to 11th. I'm hoping another board member will be joining me for this event. I'm not sure if you have anything to add, Trustee Marielia. Okay, thank you.
Okay. 10.3 Rotary report, Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, you know, our Interact group did a great job of reporting what they're up to, and I think that was a good report there. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Now 10.4 Chamber of Commerce meetings. I have not attended St. Albert's recently. Anybody else attend any? Trustee Buga? I
haven't attended, but next week, no, 2 weeks, April 2nd is going to be the Morinville Chamber of Commerce, where MLA Nally will be speaking there. So I believe that in my schedule, I am able to attend that one.
Wonderful. 10.5 Community Services Advisory Board.
I did not go to the last meeting as we were in our labor dispute. The next meeting is on May the 12th that I will be attending.
Wonderful. Okay, any unfinished business? None. We are moving into question and comment period. Do we have any members of the public online with us, Deputy Superintendent?
No, there are no questions submitted.
Okay. Seeing no comments or questions, we will move in camera at this time. Can I have a motion from a board member to move in camera? Trustee Briggs, thank you very much. Moving in camera at 12:30. We will now break till 1 o'clock for lunch. And reminder to all that we come back on a different link.